Hi. Official recaps here. Today, I'm going to explain a film from 2015 called Road Games. Before getting to the video, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like to support the channel. The film starts with a scene of someone handling a body somewhere. Following that, the corpse was mutilated and buried as soon as possible. Soon after, the focus shifted to a man called Jack. At the side of the road, Jack was waiting for a car to take him up. It's strange because we can see a road sign warning us not to give anyone a ride on this route. It's unclear what that means, but it's obvious that no car that passes on that road ever offers Jack a ride. Both from newcomers and long-term inhabitants. Jack could only surrender while suppressing his feelings because he was alone. As time passed, Jack continued walking until he came across a guy in a fight. The man then abruptly abandoned the two of them in the center of the road. Further investigation reveals that this woman's name is Veronica, and she is a fluent French speaker. She is, however, competent and fluent in English. While Jack is from the United Kingdom, he does not speak French. For your knowledge, Jack was in France at the time, but on his way back home, he was robbed by thugs in the middle of the road. As a result of that incident, the thugs robbed him of all of his money, a cell phone, and the vehicle he was driving. But, thankfully, he still has his visa. Veronica, on the other hand, lives alone and intends to move to another country because she has no one else in the area. She informed Jack that both of her parents had perished as a result of a chronic illness. When it got dark, they decided to go for a walk in the forests. Veronica told Jack that she had lately been practicing making autographs while warming up her body. To cut a long story short, Jack awoke in the morning and realized that Veronica was no longer next to him. The lady, it turned out, was bathing in a lake. When Jack saw this, he jumped into the water as well. They continued their trip by walking along the roads in the area after bathing together in the lake. Surprisingly, just as they've given up hope, they come across a car that offers to take them for a lift. Veronica, on the other hand, did not appear to be happy, and she started to be afraid of the man who was supposed to help them instead. This is Grizzard, by the way. He is a local, and he does not understand English very well. As a result, he chose to first have Jack and Veronica stay at his house and meet his wife, who had previously lived in England. So, Jack can't say no to the invitation, and they rush to the man's home. Following that, Grizzard's wife, Mary, welcomed Jack and Veronica, who had arrived. Mary then directed Jack to his bedroom, while Grizzard directed Veronica to her bedroom. When Mary left Jack alone in the room, Jack, who was already tired, jumped onto the bed and quickly fell asleep. When Jack awoke, it was already nightfall, and he was intrigued by a package labeled Grizzard. When the box was opened, several photos from Grizzard and Mary's youth were discovered. It doesn't end there. There's also a picture of a boy and a picture of a girl. Jack was certain that Grizzard and Mary were not alone in this home based on what he had seen. Regardless, neither Jack nor Veronica have seen a girl or a boy in the home. Following supper, Jack approached Veronica, who was smoking on the house's terrace. To get closer, Veronica revealed that she once had a sibling. Unfortunately, her sibling was killed by a tractor while the two were playing hide and seek in a field. Then Jack went back into the home with Grizzard to watch TV that night. At that point, Jack stated that he needed to leave Grizzard's home as soon as possible in order to return to England to meet his family. Veronica also intends to relocate to other countries to continue her existence. Soon after, Jack inquired about Grizzard's offspring. Grizzard, on the other hand, oddly replied that he had no children at all. Then Jack starts to wonder whose child is in the photograph he saw earlier in his room. Of course, Grizzard's remarks surprised Jack, but he didn't want to trouble and promptly fell asleep. When Jack awoke the next morning, he showered before departing Grizzard's house. However, the atmosphere in the home that morning was unusually quiet. Aside from that, Veronica was also absent. Grizzard appeared, brandishing a hammer, just as Jack was about to overthink. Grizzard then explained that Veronica had gone earlier that morning and she didn't want to wake up Jack, who was sleeping. Grizzard's words made Jack suspicious of his actions, even though Grizzard admitted that he had just completed repairing the cupboard door. After seeing a letter written by Veronica before she left the house, Jack began to believe Grizzard's words. After reading the letter, Jack became upset. Unexpectedly, the letter made Jack realize that something was wrong. Veronica's autographs, to be more precise, did not match what he had seen when they were stranded on the side of the road. Unfortunately, just as he was about to notice the anomaly, Jack was assaulted by someone and passed out. When he awoke, he had already been transferred to a pickup truck, which we had also seen at the start of the picture. From this, it appears that Jack was purposefully tied and kidnapped by a middle-aged man called Delacroix. Well, Jack quickly realized he was in the den of a psychopath. Furthermore, Delacroix did not provide any additional details and even fed him a plate of food. And it came out that all of Delacroix's threats to Jack were merely bluffs. He merely did it to keep Jack from fighting him right now. After that, the rope in Jack's wrist was untied, and Delacroix photographed him with a camera. I'm not clear what the point of photographing him is. Delacroix then carried him back into the pickup vehicle while covering his mouth with duct tape. Delacroix had also planned to anesthetize him with a syringe he had made. Fortunately, just as Jack was about to receive an injection, Delacroix's attention was drawn to the stove, which was still burning and emitting smoke. From there, Jack tried to flee as swiftly as possible, staying as far away from the man's intended victim as possible. Jack finally returned to Grizzard's house after a long walk. Then he noticed Mary and Grizzard getting ready to leave the home. After the two of them had gone, Jack went directly into the house to find Veronica. And, indeed, Veronica was imprisoned in one of the chambers. Without further ado, Jack immediately freed her. Grizzard and Mary had suddenly returned to the house at the time. Fortunately, they both managed to flee the home. However, Mary and Grizzard, who had begun to fear, realized their escape. They couldn't flee in the end because they were just running, unlike Mary and Grizzard, who were chasing them after using the car. As a consequence, Jack and Veronica are forced to confront Mary and Grizzard. Veronica, who was still not giving up at the time, quickly brought Jack to a cabin to flee. They then resolved to take refuge in it. However, the cabin turned out to be Delacroix's cabin, and he had also gotten there. Delacroix, on the other hand, was perplexed when Veronica appeared in front of him. Jack threatened Delacroix with a shotgun at that point, but he stumbled and got caught in a sharp iron. It's unclear what Veronica had in mind, but it's obvious that she had Jack covered with a tarp. Furthermore, still not content with Delacroix's death, Veronica stabbed a knife into his chest. Grizzard and Mary then entered the house. Grizzard then promptly spoke to Veronica in French. Veronica addressed him as Dad in French. In truth, he can still see Veronica in her childhood form. In other words, Veronica had been lying to Jack the entire time, as had Grizzard, who had informed Jack he didn't have a child despite Veronica being his daughter. It was revealed at this time that Veronica was a serial killer who could kill anyone for no apparent reason. Veronica had also brutally murdered and mutilated her younger brother after they had just completed playing hide and seek. As a result, at the start of the film, we see a body in the individual who did it, who turns out to be Veronica. But, because Jack had gone insane with the situation, he no longer wanted to listen to Mary and Grizzard's explanation, who were, in fact, Veronica's parents. Unfortunately, Mary, who only wished to tell Jack in English, was immediately beaten until she fainted by Veronica. At that time, only Grizzard remained. Grizzard couldn't do anything else at the time, and he also didn't have an option but to give up after being abandoned by Veronica and Jack. Before the film concluded, Veronica smiled as she drove Jack away from the country, and Jack felt the same way. At the moment, Jack had no idea that he would also be murdered by that woman. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this.